It's 5 minutes with me.
Friends, welcome to 5 Minutes with Marko. Recently, I had dinner with a youth worker couple who had the kind of story I hear way too often. They'd been beat up in one way or another by their church. The pastor had said they were doing a great job, blah, 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 though he did seem to have some concerns about ministry style. The couple were relational in their approach, and the pastor was organizational. In the end, they got totally blindsided by the pastor and board telling them they needed to leave. There was some kind of agreement on what would be said publicly, which the church and pastor, the way it was told to me, totally violated. Lots of hurt, lots of pain, lots of mess. I hear these stories regularly, almost weekly, literally. There are variations, of course. Some involve massive tension with a cold-hearted automaton of a senior pastor over a period of years, resulting in the ministry version of parallel play, ministering alongside each other without any significant interaction with each other. Some involve a spineless yes man or woman of a senior pastor with an overbearing board and some misguided ideas about what ministry should be doing or valuing. But the common thread is abuse. Once in a while, I get the sense that the youth worker was even in the wrong, even if only partially. But whether there was wrong on both sides or not, there are all too often scenarios where the treatment of youth worker is unacceptable. As I was flying home and thinking about and praying for this wonderful and sad youth worker couple, I started asking myself some macro level questions. Maybe it was because I was in a plane at the time, 35,000 feet over somewhere. That big picture view. Anyhow, why is it that churches are so bad at conflict resolution? And why is it they're so bad at conflict resolution, particularly amongst their staff? So few senior pastors seem to have any ability in this area. Surely there are wonderful exceptions. And why do so many youth workers get abused by their churches while they're at the church, and especially in how and why they leave? Maybe it's because our calling is so unique, so given to misunderstanding. Maybe it's because great youth ministry will never look quite like most senior pastors envision a pastoral role to look. When the senior pastor of one church I worked at reinforced the office dress code, stating that jeans and shorts were inappropriate around the office and that we should wear khakis or slacks and a collared shirt unless we had specific ministry reason why we were dressed otherwise, I took him literally. And the summer day that I was going to be hanging out with middle school kids off campus, I wore a collared shirt and khaki shorts. He yelled at me in the middle of the office, "We don't want to see your knobby knees around this office." So maybe it's true. And I'm sure it's true much of the time that we so commonly get abused because of our own contribution. But here's a harder thought that I almost wish I hadn't had. What if the reason so many youth workers are treated poorly by our church is partly because of us? What if it's because we're immature or unprofessional, sloppy, and ill mannered? What if we're hiding behind our calling and job descriptions and audience as an excuse for not getting organized, not growing up, not being a team player? I'm not suggesting we all start keeping 9 to 5 office hours and wearing dress slacks and clip on ties. I'm wearing shorts and t-shirts as I record this, and I can't imagine working at a church where they required me to dress up for the office. It tears me up to see so many youth workers treated poorly by their churches. And with each individual case, my primary response is empathy and shared pain. I know what that feels like. But taken collectively, looking at the whole mess from a few tens of thousands of feet in the air, well, I just wonder what role we've all played in creating a system that would treat us this way over and over and over again. What are your thoughts?
Hey folks, quick little announcement. I hope you know by now that the main thing the Youth Cartel does is we offer a year-long leadership development program for youth workers called the Youth Ministry Coaching Program. I really believe it's a best-in-class coaching program. We've had 800 people go through it over the last 15 years. And I just see regularly in front of my very eyes, see people's lives and ministries transformed. So check out theyouthcartel.com and go to the coaching tab. No, we're currently trying to fill a cohort in Springfield, Illinois, and one in central Pennsylvania, one in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and a level 2 cohort in northern Indiana. So hit me up if you have any questions about that.
The Youth Cartel Podcast Network.